evening.
Good evening. I formally welcome everyone, including members of the gallery and the press, to tonight's council meeting. My name is Councillor Brett Cunningham and I am current Mayor of the Golden Plains Council. Tonight, this council meeting has taken place at the Well in Smythesdale and is open to the public. This meeting is being live streamed in accordance with Council's governance rules, and I welcome any viewers joining us online. As the meeting is open to the public to attend, if the live stream ceases at any time, the meeting will continue. I'll now recite the opening declaration on behalf of we, the councillors of the Golden Plains Shire, declare that we will undertake on every occasion to carry out activities in the best interest of the community, and that our conduct shall maintain the standards of good code of governance, so that we may faithfully represent and uphold the trust placed in this council by the Golden Plains Shire. Golden Plains Shire spans the traditional lands of the Wadawurrung and East Tamar people. Council acknowledges them as the traditional owners and custodians, and we pay our respects to both Wadawurrung and East Tamar elders, present and emerging. Council also extends that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are part of the Golden Plains Shire. We also acknowledge the love, caring and nurturing of our country for over 65,000 years by traditional owners. We now move on to apologies and leave of absence. Are there any apologies for this meeting or requests for leave of absence? Thank you. I know Councillor Whitfield is joining us online tonight. Councillors, we now have a recommendation for us to confirm the minutes and confidential minutes of the scheduled council meeting that was held on the 27th of August. Can I please ask for a mover? Councillor Getson. Seconder, Councillor Kirby. Councillor Getson, would you like to speak to the motion?
Nothing further.
Thank you. Now to the vote. All those in favour? Councillors, conflict of interest. Are there any declarations of conflicts of interest? Thank you. At this point, I'd like to acknowledge our CEO, Shane Walton, who to his first council meeting joined us. So welcome aboard to the Golden Plains Shire. Welcome to your first council meeting. Public question time. Public question time runs for a maximum of 30 minutes prior to the consideration of the formal agenda by council. We consider questions received with notice from the public. I'll call each person who has submitted a question forward. Please come up and ask your question as it was submitted. I note that question time is not an opportunity to make general statements or into debate with council officers. We have here, our first question is from Ganesh George. We will ensure that a response to the question is forwarded. The next question is from Richard Kerr.
Yep.
Thank you, Richard. If you'd like to stand and read out your question.
I haven't got a copy of it, I'm sorry.
I'll give you this one. Yeah.
I handed it in and got sent off.
That's fine, Richard. Councillor Getson, we give you a copy and you can read from that.
You can't even read that.
I can read that. I can read it out on your behalf.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, thank you.
You want to say that?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm happy to read out your question, Richard. So the question is, the first question is, how are the Golden Plains Shire rates arrived at? Does the valuer visit the properties or is it computer generated? The reply will be supplied by Director Gray. Thank you, Gray.
You may, thank you, Richard. Please excuse my back. Valuations are governed by the Valuation of Land Act 1960. The Act is governed by the Victorian Valuer General. The valuation process involves 4 stages and is a mass valuation process. The valuation processes include a number of physical and aerial inspections, review of land data, all sales data, plus other processes. For further information, please contact the Valuer General's office. Thank you.
Richard's second question is, how can it keep going up when the land prices have fallen in the last year? In most cases, the rates have risen by at least 40%. How can you justify these raises? Once again, the response will be provided by Director Gray. Thank you, Director.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Richard. The overall rates revenue pool has increased in line with the rate cap as determined by the local government minister. How this is allocated is determined in line with council's rating strategy, and the capital improved values determined in accordance with the valuations provided by the Victorian Valuer General. The cents per dollar across all rating categories have reduced compared to 2024. There have been valuation movements, both positive and negative, across the Shire. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard, for your questions.
Can I add something to that?
No, I'm afraid you can't.
Okay.
But more than happy if you wanted to forward an email to myself or the CEO. Councillors will now move on. Agenda item 7.1, business reports for decision. I refer councillors to page 7 of the agenda for this report. Are there any questions? If not, please ask for a mover for the recommendation. Councillor Gamble, thank you. Please ask for a seconder. Councillor Kirby. Councillor Gamble, would you like to speak to the motion, please?
Thank you, Matt. Since the last delegates report 2 weeks ago, I attended the Great South Coast Barwon MAV regional meeting. This is a regional grouping that includes councils from Queenscliff through Geelong, right over to Glenelg on the border. It also includes not just a coastal, but a couple of next door ones, including us and Southern Grampians. The meeting included reports or updates and discussion from President David Clark and the CEO Kelly Grigsby. The main issues of note included the work they're doing with campaigning for Stand for Council, the Make Good Happen campaign. Take note, councillors, that's what we're here for. And work proceeding on a new code of conduct with recent submissions finishing. There's a plan to review and implement this, but ultimately the State Minister for Local Government has ultimate power on the outcomes. The housing and planning issues were important, also for some other councils, and also issues concerning new implementation of waste services. I remind people nominations for council are ending next Tuesday as potential candidates. And a lot of work is going on to review and rewrite a common code of conduct with local government. Over this term, many councillors and councils have experienced issues concerning conduct and ways to deal with it, including in this council. And there's so this is a focus for local government, with changes set to be coming with new regulations to be finalised in October for the new council term. We also attended the launch at Shelford of a new Telstra mobile tower on the main road to the west for Shelford. It was attended by the Federal Minister, Catherine King, and MP Michaela Settle, local to the area. A very important community-driven request from the people in Shelford, there along with the Mayor and also the Telstra Regional Manager. I'll also mention the Shelford community, to see their garden progress and issues with the frost down the valley for that project. So they then took a van to Teesdale, and we're also, the NBN people were also there to answer community questions. And I was told the ongoing minor disruptions now as part of the nationwide upgrades, and they should be stopping soon. I just have a little extension there.
You extend some time for you, Councillor.
In the I'll also mention getting up to the Linton Community Plan launch. It was very friendly and welcome reception at their community hub that they take a lot of pride and pleasure in And it was great to see all the different groups working really well together. I'm sure the mayor might have something to say about that as well. Although I haven't checked with him, but I'm sure he could.
You covered a lot of it.
So yeah, I was very impressed. Darryl there took me around the food pantry. He's been quoted in the media, so I'm sure his admission's okay. Yeah, the whole thing, the whole hub and the event was extremely well managed, and it was a pleasure to be at. So apart from that, I went to the farmers market, which is really picking up with the spring, and get around to a few other things like the park run, etc.
Very good. Thank you, Councillor Gamble. Councillor Kirby would like to speak to the motion.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I attended the opening of the women's change rooms in Bannockburn, and wow, that's all we can say. How good does those change rooms look? Council's done a magnificent job of building them, designing them, and I think at the end of the day, it's a credit to everyone. The girls down there are going to be over the moon having girls' change rooms. We're now in the 21st century, and I think that Golden Plains is ahead of most, because we have, we've been building them for 15 years over that time. And I think it's just a great opportunity for young girls and women to have their own space. I also attended the sod turning event at Brokewood with Michaela Settle. And once again, this is the last project in Golden Plains Shire where we have senior men's teams and our facilities were below par. So it's going to be a magnificent achievement to see our $3.9 million that's been put into this facility to be upgraded, and it's going to be a great space for all. So other than that, Mr Mayor, thank you, and thanks to everyone for getting these jobs done.
Thank you. Any other councillors wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Rowe, thank you.
Yes, thanks very much, Mr Mayor. Just like to say, I also attended the women's change room opening at Bannockburn. I also attended the A-grade netball semi-final at St Albans Park on last Saturday. To watch Bannockburn and East Geelong play in the semis. Unfortunately, Bannockburn lost, and East Geelong beaten by approximately 10 goals. I'd also like to report, last week I attended a meeting with farmers of the Golden Plains Shire at the Bruna Park Hall, who are experiencing council rate bill shock, with some facing increases of up to over 200%. Over 80 residents attended to object to the sharp increases in the rates following the recent state government revaluation. The Golden Plains farmers agreed to develop a plan of action and will be contacting council shortly for a meeting with the CEO and the respective directors in relation to this matter. An average 30% rate increase is astronomical and incredibly unfair for local farmers. Some farmers in the area who were paying $50,000 last year in rates are now paying in excess of $100,000. How would anyone here like to be budgeting for increases like this? It was mentioned at the meeting, it is completely unjust to have rate increases exorbitantly high for one group of ratepayers, but have no increase or even a reduction in rates for others. Bannockburn residential rates have decreased about 5%, as we know. So as far as I'm concerned, this council has failed to use the differential rating power to equalise the rate increases across the different classes of land. In February 2022, 5 out of 7 councillors.
Councillor Rowe, point of order, Councillor Rowe. Point of order, Councillor Rowe. The delegates report, we're not entering into a debate about rating strategy at this point of time.
We could have done better.
Well, anything else to add, Councillor Rowe? Anything else?
Suggested some councils that suggest 120% differential rate.
Very good. Any other councils? Councillor?
I attended the community hub plan launch in Linton, and today I had the pleasure of being chauffeured around by our new CEO, Shane Boland. You're a good driver, Shane. In the bush. We've solved all the problems when we went around, so we're quite happy, and he's put his name down for the cricket club for Linton, I believe, next year. That's a lot. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Councillors? Councillor Sharkey?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, quite issuance. Also attended with Councillor Kirby, Councillor Fillingham, and Councillor Rowe, and Councillor Gamble's there as well. The opening of the netball facilities there, so it's great to get around there and see that. So it's been quite good. Also, sort of agree with comments from Councillor Rowe there has been quite rumble in the community regarding rates, which tends to happen every few years, and yeah, there's a good bit of work to be done there into the future. So thank you very much.
Any other councillors? Yeah, just a brief wrap. Councillor Kirby attended the Rakewood Community Sod Turning event. The Sod Turning event acknowledges the commencement of works for the Rakewood Community Hub and Viewing and Upgrade project. Going to be delivered by $3.5 million. State government council's $442,000 and a significant contribution from the Rec Reserve. Hopefully the new facility will be completed by May 2025. It will be an absolute first-class facility. Also, as other councils said, we attended the opening of Victoria Park Netball Pavilion. Overall, it's a $1.79 million total project, with funding coming from state government 1.1, $690,000 from federal government. This is going to be, or it is, a first-class facility, including 2 female-friendly change rooms, umpires' rooms, first aid room, storage areas, and office space. Also, as Councillor Gamble said, we attended the Shelford Mobile Tower launch. After continued advocacy from Shelford residents, a new mobile base station has been established, which will provide improved and increased coverage and connectivity for the area. And once again, that was funded by the federal government. Launch of the Linton Community Plan. Myself, Councillor Getz, and Councillor Gamble attended the launch of the Linton Community Plan. Over 40 residents attended the event. The work by the committees to be acknowledged, which Linton's Ben Shed, Linton Community Hub Management Association, Linton Craft Group, Linton Historical Society, Linton Cemeteries Trust. Community. It's amazing how much work has been put into the location over the past 18 months to 2 years, and the amount of use that it's getting. So congratulations on that. Also, over the past 2 weeks, lots of meetings with Shire residents regarding their concerns, individuals, and also last week have also met with a number of farmers to listen to their concerns. Councillor Gamble, would you like to?
Mr. Mayor?
Certainly.
I'm just I'm wondering if it was actually turned on, Shelford Industrial Tower. Actually turned on because
It was. Yeah, it worked.
so it works when you go down the dip. Fantastic.
I can't confirm that, but I'd say it should be.
Thank you.
In the 10 of the CEO.
Yep.
Councillor Gamble, would like to close.
Just to clarify, it's just a Telstra tower at the moment, but it may be up to Optus whether they add to it. Also, apologise to Councillor Getson for neglecting to include in the Linton Community Hub launch, the community plan launch at the Community Hub. So I had it written down, and just before, and also I'd also think it's time to feature this MAV 4-year strategic plan document. It's on their website. It's really good, very positive, shaping our future. I think it's a really good title. So the subtitle, helping local councils build a resilient, sustainable Victoria. So basically sets out how local councils can do this on the ground with their relationship and practical community building work. more than any other arm of government. I'm proud to be part of this positive cooperative vision and part of encouraging me to seek re-election for the next council term. Thank you.
Put that to vote. All those in favour? Councillor Whitfield? Yeah, thank you. That's all right. Agenda item 7.2. Audit Risk Committee meeting minutes. Per councillors to page 9 of the agenda for this report. The report is read. Any questions to the director? If not, may I please ask for a move of the recommendation?
Right, and can I, for the suggestion to onboard the next two items, I'm happy to move the next two items, given the next two items are the same. If no objections, just move to them at the same time.
Second.
That will be Councillor Sharkey, Audit Risk Committee meeting 7.2 and 7.3.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, so just councillors putting those two together because they're pretty much going to pretty much overlap from one another. One being the Audit Risk Committee meetings that was held on the 13th of August. We have just appointed our first female independent member. I think all my time anyhow on council, yeah, it would be first female. So independent member. So Ingrid Bishop, there's a great addition to the team there. So continuing to be a really the independent members that we've had there in my time have all done an exceptional job. So also there is the biannual report. So for those that do look into that, the Audit Risk Committee cover safety and wellbeing, the financial reports, gift and benefits register, business events. Also spoke about the avian influenza and several other items. So it was a very informed and good meeting, and the agenda meetings minutes are all attached to the agenda.
So you speak on behalf now. We need a seconder.
Yeah, sorry, the seconder was
it? So Councillor Getson. Councillor Getson, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thanks.
Any councillors wishing to speak to the motions? Any councillors wishing to speak? Councillors speak to the motion. Thank you, Councillor Gamble.
Yeah, I too would like to welcome Ingrid Bishop, the independent member, onto the Audit Risk Committee. I'd also like, relating to 7.3, the summary report of the business of the Audit Risk Committee for the first half of the year. Yeah, it's a really important committee. It provides independent oversight for the council, and it's particularly, as made clear in the document, the attachment, that's particularly significant with the transformation program being undertaken in our council at the moment. And yeah, it's called the internal control environment, and includes improvements in areas such as customer requests, finance, community safety, property and rates. So yes, I commend the report and acknowledge the great work they're doing.
Thank you, Councillor Gamble. Councillors wish to speak against the motion? If not, I'll ask Councillor Sharkey to close.
Yeah, given there's no one speaking against that, I don't see any points in that.
And then put the motion to vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Agenda item 7.4. Per councillors to page 14 of the agenda for this report. Take the report as read. Are there any questions to the director? If not, may I please ask for a mover for the recommendation? Councillor Gamble. Seconder, please, councillors. Councillor Kirby. Councillor Gamble, would you like to wish to speak to the motion, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This recommendation comes in the context of previous council budget cuts, and one of those areas cut was our open space strategy, proposed work on it. Recognising back then is important. At the time, I mentioned and highlighted my objection to the cuts, to going to see the suspension, the non-continuation of work, and the development of various council strategies, including the open space strategy. In the debate about 4 months ago relating to the 24-25 budget, I specifically mentioned this, but not for the reason that appears to us before us now. The reason now appears to be more on financial implications, as outlined in the report, and particularly in page 16, the agenda. My concerns were, without a strategy, how can we progress on development and care needed for the provision and function of public open space? We have to think that if we're passing this one now, and it's okay to reinstate it because it makes us money, it seems, or at least we can get more money.
Point of order. Not actually.
What is clarification?
Just clarification, the recommendation is the implementing, we're not adopt, we're not.
Well, we're discussing allocation of monies towards forming an open space strategy, and I'm making the point that there are other strategies that also need attention, such as significant landscape overlays, heritage work, possibly community development planning, social housing planning, active ageing and inclusion plan, community engagement policy. However, I will support this because I accept the reasoning and importance of obtaining funds, and that will allow funding of other strategy and council plans. Nevertheless, the adoption of reinstating this strategy singularly begs the question, what about all the other strategies and plans Council Golden Plains Shire has? What other ones need updating and currency, as this one does? Usually typically it's a 4-year cycle, and it's a complex business to assess which strategies need updating, which don't. So I've asked for a future report on this matter to be presented back to councillors, future briefing meeting. I think this future report briefing will be valuable for the new councillor group. Can I have a
Ask you to wrap it up as soon as possible. That's it.
I think it will be important for providing an oversight, bigger picture responsibilities and capabilities. Strategic planning and the currency is core of local government.
Thank you very much. Councillor Kirby.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I support option 1, which council supports the reallocation of funds within the council budget or external funding opportunities to enable the preparation of an open space strategy. As we know at the moment, we would like to receive 5% of funds from developers. So whether it is for open space or land or for land contribution, I think it's vital for our council to have this. Some of the things that are identified is, just give me 2 seconds. Provides us with protecting biodiversity, improving psychological health and wellbeing, improving physical fitness, facilitating social interaction and cohesion, promoting community pride and enhancing child development through play. So at the moment, when us as a council go to BCAT to get a development payment, we're only seeing 1 or 2% of the monies coming back to the Golden Plains Shire. So with this strategy and having us making the funds available would enhance our opportunities to receive 5%. that comes back into the purse strings. It comes back to the purse strings of Golden Plains Shire, and it will help our residents and assist us in providing more open space for our residents. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
The other councillors wishing to speak against the motion, council speaks to the motion.
Thanks for the motion. Just listening to the mover and seconder there, either I've got this wrong or I believe you've got that wrong. Now, I'm not arguing against the open place strategy. This is something that we as a council put into the budget 2 years ago. We all are in agreement that we can sit here and talk for hours. This open place strategy is something that we need. Helena just covered that nice. We need it, we want it, and it's a great asset for us. But read the recommendation. The recommendation is that council direct the CEO to identify council and external funding opportunities and initiate the preparation of the open place strategy. So what we're doing is we're asking the CEO to find savings in the budget. Excuse my ignorance, but that I think is any CEO's job, is to continually find budget savings. In all my time in council, previous CEOs have found savings during the year and said, here's a saving, this is where we're going to redirect the savings, or suggestion, or the councillor group come up with ideas for it. So the words there, we're reinstating this or reallocating, we're not actually doing that. We just finished our budget a couple of months ago. We were talking down to pennies, singles of thousands of dollars in the budget, and now this is $150,000. We are not being told where that $150,000 is coming from. So I do not disagree that this strategy is not important, and as Councillor Gamble said, I'm not too sure the future report on how important it is, but there's so many other strategies there, as Councillor Gamble said, that are so important. We're putting the cart in front of the horse, in my personal opinion here. Go and find the savings. If there's $150,000 savings somewhere, or if we're redirecting money from somewhere because we feel this is now more important, well, let's do it that way. The next councillor group is going to start the conversation around the budget for next year. Let's leave the officers there can tell. This is up to the officers to tell us during the budget process how important this is. Now, it wasn't important enough a couple of months ago. It was important a number of years ago, but that gets pulled from the budget from budget cuts during the year. This is asking the CEO to do his job, in my opinion. Find savings. Yes, it's important to us, but we shouldn't need to bring this to a council meeting to say how important it is when we know that it was important a number of years ago. So I'll be voting against this, but I'm not voting against the open place strategy because that is hugely important, along with several other important documents. But this is a councillor update on a briefing day. It doesn't need to be a recommendation. Obviously, we've come to the end. This agenda is very light, whether we feel we need to pack it with something, but there's no need for this. If we agree on this or disagree, it makes no difference. Find the money. If the money's found, then let's do something. But this is pie in the sky. We're not doing anything. Thank you.
Councillor Whitfield, so I don't miss, did you want to speak to or for, against or for recommendation? Not at all, you don't have to.
Oh, thanks. You've invited me. I'll say something, I suppose. I think it is, as has been mentioned, vitally important. We require this strategy in place in the planning scheme to guarantee a just contribution of open space. But I'd actually be a bit wary that this item actually, if it didn't get up tonight and is not implemented soon, it actually highlights to developers their opportunities to challenge the 5% contribution, which is a bit worrying, showing those VCAT decisions in the report there. But anyway, Yeah, no, I look for the money. Hopefully the external sources are what finds the money to enable this. Thank you.
Councillor Gove, would you like to close?
Oh, yes, thanks. Firstly, I'd just like to say, my interpretation is that it is directing funds from other areas effectively internally as a board.
Can you make a clarification on that? My understanding, like if that's what you're voting for, you believe, I don't believe that's the case.
Excuse me, Councillor.
The redirection of funds would only occur where cost savings have been identified in the budget. And so it wouldn't be redirecting funds without consultation with council. However, if cost savings were identified in or half yearly reviews, then we would be looking to use those funds for this strategy as a first priority.
Can I rephrase that as prioritising funds? And with that, there is an opportunity cost, of course, maybe. And I believe that that's important. It's, and we should recognise there are consequences. I believe the this issue was worth going into a budget deficit situation with in terms of looking at the future financial figures picking up considerably. But given that this is core business, it's pretty important for these strategies to be maintained and updated. And this is an example of one of the consequences of what can happen if it isn't. I'd also like to thank the officers for being candid about this and bringing it forward in this way. I think that's good, recognising that there are potential risks, as Councillor Whitfield just outlined. But also, apart from that, the open spaces are one of our greatest resources and attractions to living in Golden Plains. And it's really important to human well-being. I'll leave it there.
I'll now put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Councillor Rowe, I didn't see a hand against. Thank you. Motion carried. I'll move on to agenda item 7.5 in regards to authorisation of planning scheme amendment rezoning of Ormond Street, Bannockburn. I refer councillors to page 18 of the agenda for this report and take the report as read. Are there any questions to the applicable director, councillors? Councillor Whitfield, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, questions without notice to the director. I had a very close read of this planning scheme amendment across the weekend, and I was just wondering, are there any improvements on the proposed drainage plans for this development as in relation to previous developments that have gone through? Have we changed any drainage requirements in this development?
Sorry. Yes, please. Sorry.
Director Joseph Hank.
Thank you, Mayor. At this stage, the scheme is just for the rezoning, and this plan of subdivision is finalised. And part of the conditions will be to prepare drainage plans to the satisfaction of the planning authority. We have, through our IBM, the infrastructure design manual, have changed that. Council's just refreshing it a couple of years ago, reducing the minimum grades from 1 in 500 to 1 in 300. So that's one thing. And then obviously these days we make sure that all drains are in easements as opposed to just in private property. And the other condition, if basins are required, which I'm not sure on this one, it being a reserve and not as part of an easement, so we have access to it for maintenance purposes. So those details will be noted out as part of the subdivision process.
Thank you. And one more, please, Mr. Mayor.
Phil?
Thank you. In the new Schedule 19 that's incorporated into this amendment, as well as in a range of other clauses in the scheme, it talks about supplying and delivering a range of lot sizes to meet varying housing needs. The subdivision plans that I've looked at of about 170 lots, all I could see was about 6 along the river that you would say were varied compared to the others, which would be, I don't know, approximately between 550 and 650 square metres. So I just wonder, does 6 out of 170 meet the requirement to have varied lot sizes?
I would have to take that on notice, but it is there's variation, I suppose, but I do acknowledge that it's a small percentage there, Councillor Whitfield.
Thank you.
Any other questions, councillors? If not, may I please ask for a mover for the recommendation? Councillor Kirby. Do I have a seconder? Councillors may ask for a seconder. Don't have a seconder, the matter's going to lapse. Councillors? Councillor Gamble. Councillor Kirby, would like to speak to the recommendation, please.
Thank you. Yes, this has come to council because there has been four landowners within Ormond Street who would like their land to be subdivided. So at the moment, we know that there is a lack of housing available in Bannockburn. There's only a supply of 4 years, whereas this would extend it to about 8 years until Bannockburn South comes on board and Bannockburn West. I think at the moment, you know, this is a good initiative from those residents. They know that their rates are probably going to go up because they're on the outskirts of Bannockburn where there is no, their rates are going to be higher because of where they're living in the rural zone. And I think at the moment, it's just a good opportunity for us as council to be able to move ahead. The ratepayers are behind it, the ones who own the land, and I just support their decision, and I think it's I support our planning scheme putting in the amendment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Gamble. Thank you. Any other councillors wishing to speak to the motion? Councillors wishing to speak against the motion? Not, I'll ask Councillor Kirby to close. Oh, sorry, Councillor Gamble, you're reserved your right.
Thank you, Mayor.
Sorry, my apologies.
No, that's all right. Yeah, I don't think I've read it with the 644-page document with the depth that Councillor Whitfield probably had. But it's a big development like this has to go through a lot of checks and through a lot of oversight for being done the right way. And the only concern I have isn't related directly to the development, but the active transport links in the future relating to this development, feeding it into Bannockburn proper. Because at the moment, it would be great to have a track along the Skipton Bannockburn Road there to pull in also the lagoon, golf club, the gym, light industrial areas there, and such a track could also service this development with an extension. We need to be looking at those extra things as a council as well as the development per se.
Thank you. Councillor Kirby, would like to wish to close.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This precinct has been identified within the township boundary of Bannockburn for many decades and is identified in the Bannockburn Growth planned to be zoned for residential use for the future, and it is adjacent to land zone general residential zone 1. This report actually outlines the justification to rezone it from the farming zone to general residential. Just to put that into context. I think the Greater Bannockburn, it's just on the outskirts. It's going to make sure, as Councillor Gamble said, it's close enough that we don't have to provide too many more facilities to that area. They'd probably have a little bit of open space, and we'd have open space along the creek as well. So I think that's a good opportunity for extra walking activities, bicycle riding, cycling, that sort of thing. So look to this going ahead, and on behalf of the residents, thank you for putting this up for council.
I'll now put the motion. Councillors in favour? Councillors, we move on to agenda item 8.1, which is the notice of motion. Refer council to page 24 of the agenda of this report. Councillor Campbell, if you'd like to briefly give us a summary of your notice of motion.
I read the motion. The council prepare a report for future council consideration relating to the developer councillor contact register. The report should include the following: the merits or otherwise of implementing the developer councillor contact register for serving Golden Plains Shire Council councillors, benchmarking of select other Victorian councils with working registers, details on the relationship of a proposed developer councillor contact register to the state government local government reform, local government inspectorate requirements, and the Sandon report recommendations, and how a developer councillor contact register process would address privacy concerns.
Much. Any questions? Have a seconder? Councillor Kirby. Councillor Gamble, would like to speak to your notice of motion.
Yeah, where do I start?
From the beginning.
Well, basically, I believe it'd be a policy it would be a guide to provide guidance to councillors, property developers, council officers, and the public as to what are appropriate and inappropriate interactions. So I just got to. I'd like to emphasise there's no particular issue, information or circumstances that has led to the presentation of this notice of motion. This notice of motion is in keeping with high-level recommended best practice and has already been enacted by a significant number of councils. However, there has been one particular incident I experienced personally with a developer coming round to my house and demanding a immediate meeting. Was just not appropriate, and I think a contact register such as this will provide
Order.
What would it mean?
Not speaking to the motion. Because you're not implementing, again, you're not implementing it.
Policy we're speaking to.
You're putting forward a report, you're not implementing it.
I'm justifying a rationale
For it, that's not what the motion's asking.
Well, the reason the motion, that I'm asking for support for the council to do this register.
So point of order.
Need to debate the reason, the motion of motion. Not the reason why.
Well, for those who are wondering what's this concerns, with the actual notice of motion, there is a rationale provided. So I assumed I'd be able to speak to the rationale provided. Is that correct?
I'll take advice from both.
Governance rules are silent on the specific discussion. The overarching governance rules is around the actual motion itself. Focus of the debate needs to be on the motion.
Okay, just noting that when we lodge this notice of motion, it does include a rationale. So people can get a better understanding of why the motivation and why it should be introduced. So therefore, I think it is fairly important that I should be able to discuss that. Nevertheless, I believe this motion is strong in representing the community's interests. I think it is in the council's interest to be proactive in introducing such a motion, given concerns around transparency and the risks that are potential risks that can be had in this area. We're talking large amounts of money.
Let's place fish. I'll be ready to pitch on it.
I will just, I'll refer councillors to the Local Government Inspectorate, which in their Integrity Matters newsletter, this is in support directly to the motion, put out about a year ago, a year after the last time this.
Councillor Gamble, point of order being Councillor Shaggy.
It's not to motion. It's not to
Discussing why we need to have those motion.
This is justification from the Local Government Inspectorate. They're recommending councillors.
So I'm going to stop you there, Councillor Gamble.
Yeah, there are 5 points they recommend.
Councillor Gamble spoken. Council's going to have some evidence, please.
The Local Government Inspectorate requirements is referenced in the motion. So he can read out those particular requirements.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Gamble. Thank you.
First one, not so relevant. Councillors should avoid comment before a decision. Second one, councillors should avoid meeting developers one-on-one. We recommend the councillors blah, blah, blah. Point 3, councillors should avoid accepting gifts and hospitality from developers. Compromised position. And point 4, councillors should create a policy to guide councillor interactions with developers. Goes on, creating a policy which clearly sets out.
Our point of order being.
It's not to the motion.
Governor said that people will refer to the 5 points.
Governments have a think about that what Councillor Gamble is talking to is actual implementation of the recommendation of the actual. This is asking for a report to come to council which will address those matters. we're not here debating whether this is good or bad. We're asking for a report.
Ask you to finish, please.
Fifth point, council should keep a register of councillor interactions with developers.
Honour.
Thank you. Councillor, I'll ask you to finish, please.
Lost my place there, but the I think that this is, I commend this motion for the councillors to hear a report, to get a report back, more particularly for the new group of councillors to assess the merit or otherwise of implementing that developer councillor contact register, as many other councils have done.
Thank you very much. Councillor Kirby, would you like to speak to the recommendation?
Mr Mayor, but I'll reserve my right of reply. Thank you.
Any other councillors wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Whitfield, thank you.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Look, I simply see this report as an opportunity, or the endeavour of the motion is to bring a report that will let us know the pros and cons of a register, and give us potential improvements to the public perception of councillors through their dealings with developers. So I think the report is quite clearly, I'm for it. I think anything that leads towards improved transparency is a good thing, and the answers that are asked for in this report will quite potentially lead us down that path. So I'm for it. Thank you.
Any councillors wishing to speak against the motion? Councillor Sharkey.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much. Now, just to start off, I'm voting against this motion. I'm not voting against the actual implementation of that, of the actual register.
Mr Mayor, you can't be voting one way and then saying you're going to vote, you're talking another way. That's
Speaking against the notice of motion, which is to bring this report.
Yeah. So just to be clear, I'm not voting because what's happening here is there is a clear misunderstanding, and why Councillor Gamble struggled to speak on that matter is the rationale that is put forward in his motion contradicts the motion. Councillors, for the seven of us here, we've been here for now 4 years. This is our final meeting. Congratulations, Councillor Gamble, on announcing your re-election earlier during
Sharkey.
point of order.
We're discussing with the notice of motion.
So for the councillors that have read all of what has been provided to us over the last 4 years, you will remember that Councillor Cunningham brought forward a motion 3 years ago to council, which is a mirror of this. So the report that we're looking for, this motion, all you need to do is go back to the agenda, February 21st of February, and you will find the report that you're requesting. Community are tired of us not making decisions and just talking. Now, if Councillor Gamble brought forward a motion here tonight and said, let's implement a policy, let's bring forward that we've got the report, we've got all the learnings, that the 5 points there you mentioned earlier, Councillor Gamble from the Local Government Inspectorate, highlighted all of those things inside the report. It tells us that we've got a couple of those embedded in our gifts and register policy, but we are silent on a few. We're told that other councils have implemented this. City of Borbor didn't, Council Borbor didn't do it. The recommendation out of that report was for us to look at the greater city of Dandenong, and the recommendation was to follow theirs because they've got the register there. We were told at the time that we could go that. Now, we as councillors have been silent on that. Nothing has come about that for the last few years, and we've not done anything. So we've got the report. I don't understand why the notice of motion brought here tonight should be, let's do something. Let's do something as opposed to talk about it. Everyone's going to walk away here and go, oh, I voted in favour tonight that we bring a report. Well, reports do nothing. We've got the report. the officers, all they're going to do is cut and paste the one from a couple of years ago and say, look, this is what we gave you a couple of years ago. Actions speak louder than words, councillors. Let's do something. It's now too late. The next councillor can be, if you want to put into the next council to do that. But I will be voting against this because this has already come to council. We voted on it unanimously. 7 of us voted in favour of this report a couple of years ago. And now for some reason we're asking officers to bring forward a report that we've already gotten and read.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Kirby, you reserved your right to speak. Councillor Ray, yours wishing to speak against?
Yes. Yeah. Well, yes, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I just need to ask, like, why there's no motion that's come to council at this time? Like, we 4 weeks before an election, and noting that there's a forthcoming election period restriction, as far as I'm concerned, it's not feasible to list a report as described for a future briefing prior to this election. So I don't see good governance to bring it down.
I'll seek governance. Seek governance
wrong
on Councillor Ray's concerns.
So through you, Mayor, it was a validly received, lodged one. It was considered in line with the governance rules. The CEO just went through the processes. He has accepted it. It's a valid norm for discussion and debate. Other issues are outside of the actual norm that's in front of us today.
Wish to close.
Yeah, no, I still stick on my dig. I don't think it should be coming to us, because we've got this election period restriction coming in very, very shortly, and will be a caretaker mode. So I'll be voting against this.
Councillor Kirby, you've reserved the right to speak. There's no one else. Councillor Whitfield.
Yes,
I think it's already been up once.
happy to go again.
You wish to speak to the motion, Councillor Whitfield?
I don't want to break governance rules. I think I've already spoken, Mr. Mayor, even though I'd like to chime in again.
Councillor Kirby, you reserve the right.
If I may ask a question, am I able to move an amendment?
So we're already debating.
No.
It needed to have been before the debate.
So you're reserved your right to speak.
That's fine. Look, I think this is a great opportunity for councillors to come together and this to come forward for the next group of councillors as a report. This is all about transparency for the community. It's not about us as a council. It's about the transparency of who we deal with on a day-to-day basis, or once a year, or once every couple of years. So it's not aimed at any one person in particular, because I know as a councillor, I'll be the first one to put my hand up and put down that I'll have an interest coming from this report. We know it's come from the local government. They've done a lot of work from the Sandon report. We have seen other councils take it on board, and I think it's imperative that, as for good democracy, good transparency, that we actually bring this to council and we vote for it. It just gives us more trust from the residents. This is what it's all about, trust that the people who are sitting around the table are doing the right thing. So I recommend that we, Councillor Gamble's, and I think that notice of motion, and I think it's just very good for all dealings from within council and who we see and speak to on the outside. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Gamble, you'd like to close.
Okay, thank you. I'll just point out that Councillor Sharkey would prefer if it was bang bang foots.
Please ask you to close.
And Councillor Rose says we should
Please ask you not.
I'm justifying why it's in the form, the motion requests a report.
Yes.
So that it can be, so that officers can advise and think about the best recommendation or report of the issues possible for the new group of councillors. So, but also point out that the last time that this sort of notice of motion came up was in August 22. The Operation Sandon Special Report came out about a year later on the 27th of the 7th, 23. So that did change the environment and the landscape, thus provoking the relevance of us re-examining and looking at this important issue for our peri-urban shire on the outskirts of a lot of growth.
Point of order. The report that we've already received was February 2023.
The
Point of order, I think said 2021 previously.
22 was when we actually debated the issue.
Point of order.
The report that we got from officers was February 2023.
Director Gray, can you
If I,
in that place?
yeah, so there was a briefing report in February 23 in relation to the NOM that was accepted in 22. Councillor Gamble is quite correct. The Sandon report was not issued until mid to late 2023, which was the informing document of where the government was going in this matter.
Ask you to wrap up if you may, please. So, yeah.
Well, I commend this motion to the councillor group, and also believe that it's good governance for us to be proactive in these issues, and for the councillor group to have a report and guidance on such issues is an important thing, I think. Thank you.
Now put the motion to vote. All those in favour? Those against? I'll call for a division. Those in favour? Councillor Whitfield, Gamble, Cunningham, Kirby. Those against? So Sharkey gets them in a row. Right. We have no petitions. We have no urgent business. No confidential reports for decision. As there has been no further items of business, I declare this council meeting now closed at 7:08. Thank everyone for their attendance tonight. Wish everyone a safe trip home.